When people dream of owning a home, they imagine peace. They imagine comfort, safety, and freedom. They see themselves sitting in the yard on summer evenings, celebrating holidays with family, raising children in a place that feels truly their own. But for those living under the authority of HOAs, that dream often collides with a harsher reality, a world of restrictions, rules, and unexpected punishments. It begins quietly. A letter in the mailbox. A small fine. At first, homeowners think it's a mistake, something simple that will be resolved with a phone call. But over time, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. Each new notice chips away at the sense of ownership. What should be a sanctuary starts to feel like a monitored space, where every decision is subject to approval. One family experienced this the day they brought home their newborn son. They hung a small, joyful banner outside. "It's a boy." The neighbors smiled, congratulated them, and even brought gifts. But within 24 hours, a notice appeared from the HOA. Unauthorized signage. "Remove immediately." The parents stared in disbelief. Their son had just entered the world, and already their celebration was labeled a violation. The father asked angrily, "Is welcoming my child into the world a crime now?" Another resident faced a similar humiliation. She loved nature and placed bird feeders in her backyard. Watching birds gave her peace, especially during lonely mornings. But the HOA fined her, claiming bird feeders attracted undesirable animals. She explained gently, "I'm just feeding sparrows and cardinals." Nothing dangerous, still the fine stood. Something as small and kind-hearted as enjoying nature was treated like rebellion. Then there was a man who placed a simple doormat outside his door. It read, "Welcome." For him, it was an expression of warmth. But the HOA decided it was the wrong size. The rules dictated exact measurements for doormats. He laughed bitterly. "We're arguing about the size of a mat. Is this really what the HOA was created for?" Parking rules are another constant battlefield. One teenager parked her car on the street overnight after coming home late from work. The next morning, the family found a violation notice. The HOA had a zero-tolerance policy on overnight street parking. Her father confronted the board. "It's our street. My daughter wasn't blocking anyone. Why does this matter?" The answer was short and cold. Rules are rules. But sometimes rules collide directly with compassion. A man caring for his sick mother relied on visiting nurses who parked in his driveway. He received a fine for excessive visitors. He begged the board, "These are healthcare workers. They're not parties. They're not strangers. They're here to keep my mother alive." The board's response? Silence. For that family, the HOA's obsession with rules outweighed human dignity. Inside the home, residents don't always escape the HOA's reach. One woman hung bright red curtains in her living room. To her, they symbolized energy and vibrance. But the HOA ordered her to replace them, claiming they disrupted community aesthetics. She asked, stunned, "These are my curtains, inside my home. Why does the HOA care?" Yet the rulebook dictated even interior choices if they were visible from the street. Privacy, it seemed, no longer existed. Children often become the silent victims. A group of kids set up a lemonade stand on the sidewalk to raise money for a school trip. Instead of encouragement, the HOA shut it down, calling it unauthorized commercial activity. The parents pleaded, "They're just kids selling lemonade. This is part of childhood." But the HOA didn't budge. That day, the children learned not about entrepreneurship, but about control. Another boy loved playing basketball in his driveway. He spent hours practicing, dreaming of joining his school team. But the HOA banned visible basketball hoops. The day the hoop was removed, the boy cried. His father whispered, "I'm sorry, son. It's not about you. It's about their rules." Childhood dreams crushed by paperwork and regulations. What kind of community allows that? Landscaping rules provide another endless source of tension. A man planted wildflowers to attract bees and butterflies. His yard was alive with color. Neighbors admired it. Children pointed at the butterflies with joy. But the HOA fined him for not maintaining a uniform green lawn. He argued passionately. "This helps the environment." "It's beautiful. Why must everything look identical?" The board's response was simple: conformity above all. Another family placed a small bench under a tree, hoping to create a space where neighbors could sit and talk. But the HOA demanded its removal, calling it unauthorized furniture. The father explained, "We wanted to bring people together." But in a community ruled by documents and bylaws, even kindness could be outlawed. As these stories spread, homeowners begin to live differently. They hesitate before decorating. They whisper before hosting guests. They measure every small act against the invisible threat of a letter, a fine, or even legal action. The home becomes less a place of comfort and more a space of surveillance. One homeowner described it perfectly. "It feels like I'm renting my house from the HOA, even though I pay the mortgage." That feeling of ownership without freedom cuts deep. Yet, despite the frustration, some residents fight back. After the lemonade stand incident, parents in one neighborhood organized a large community fair. Children sold crafts, cookies, and yes, lemonade. They invited local media, and when the story went public, the HOA quietly backed down. It was a reminder that united voices are louder than isolated complaints. Parking rules were challenged in another neighborhood. After dozens of families received fines, they created a petition demanding overnight flexibility. At first, the board resisted. But when over 70% of residents signed, the pressure was undeniable. The rule was changed. It was a small victory, but it proved that persistence could pay off. There are also stories of reform from within. Some frustrated homeowners ran for positions on the HOA board. Once elected, they shifted priorities from strict enforcement to community building. Instead of letters and fines, they focused on dialogue and compromise. The result? Fewer conflicts, more cooperation, and a neighborhood that began to feel human again. But these victories, while inspiring, remain rare. For most homeowners, the reality of HOAs is still one of frustration. The rules continue to stretch into every corner of life. From flags to fences, from guests to gardens, the authority of HOAs often seems limitless. The bigger question lingers. What is the purpose of these organizations? Are they truly protecting property values, or are they controlling lives? Does a red curtain, a basketball hoop, or a holiday decoration truly threaten a neighborhood, or is it simply about power? For many, the conflict isn't about grass height or parking spots. It's about something deeper. It's about dignity. The dignity of choosing how to live in your own home. The dignity of celebrating life's moments without fear of punishment. The dignity of raising children in freedom, not under surveillance. And until HOAs learn to balance order with compassion, residents will continue to ask, do I really own my home, or am I just renting it from the HOA? Because at the end of the day, a neighborhood is not defined by fences, lawns, or mailboxes. It is defined by people, their joys, their struggles, their humanity. And when rules strip away that humanity, the cost is greater than any fine. The cost is the very soul of community.